Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the D'Andrea 300 series catalog. This is a catalog of shapes. It's been very helpful to me in learning the different shapes and learning to recognize discontinued shapes when I see them available. I'll know that that's a vintage pick because it's been discontinued. And this 300 series catalog was first published around 1930. Previous to that, D'Andrea had a 100 catalog, and that's the only two series they had was the 100 and 300. And the 300 left behind some of the shapes in the 100 and reintroduced a number of new ones. It starts at 323 here, but actually the 300 series extends from 300 to 375. And there were 75 different shapes in that catalog. A number of them had been removed, and in fact, I counted 14 300 series catalog numbers that did not have a corresponding shape to them, which tells me they were just removed. So they had 75 different shapes, including a number of finger and thumb picks. It starts at 323 because the picks before that were all tortoiseshell. And these picks shown here are all celluloid. And feel free to write me if you'd like a free copy of this guide. My email is right there in the description section. And I'll be happy to send you one by email that should, when printed, come up the correct size. Two other of the shapes we could see here were out of production. They're the blue asterisk, the heart, and 347. They went out of production for decades, but around 2000 made an appearance. The 323 heart shape here in the U.S. is now being made again. And the 347 is made in Japan, but it's not currently, does not have widespread distribution here. If you come across the heart and you're not sure whether it's the vintage or not, just take a look at the printing if it has printing on it. If it looks like modern printing, it's a modern pick. Most of the vintage 323s had no printing on them, and most of the ones being made today are coming out of China, and they're in pearloid, either blue pearloid, white pearloid. In D'Andrea, it doesn't seem to have made any of the original hearts in pearloid, and here we see it, in fact, in an army brown color. I've only seen it in mosaic, army brown, and black so far. The other picks with a red asterisk are the picks that are currently available on the market and were never discontinued. They have continuous production, so you'll have to keep an eye out and learn to differentiate between those picks that are vintage and those that are modern made, which will happen once your eye gets acclimated to what vintage celluloid looks like. And the celluloid I show here is just about all vintage celluloid. You could see the red speckled, various shades of tortoise, early 60s design. Going back to the 50s, we have the wheat straw variations. So that's a clue right there that you're looking at vintage when you see a celluloid you haven't seen before, or you may be looking at vintage if you're not sure. A number of very interesting shapes here. I personally like the 349, the 361, 362, very rare shape to come upon, and the 365, often considered to be inspired by Gene Schilling and used as a dulcimer pick. Very long pick here, considered the longest pick there is. Personal favorite is the 367.5, so hard to come by. But I actually collect all these picks and keep them when I find them in vintage colors, and I know they're vintage picks. Doubles I'll trade away to other folks or even sell. But this guide here is for your use. You can come back and check picks that you've acquired and see if they're on here, to see if they're in any of the known vintage picks that were discontinued, such as this entire row and these here. Smaller triangle shapes that were discontinued. So that would be very useful. Other comments I might have about this are not being shown are the cork and corrugated picks. The cork and corrugated numbers picks were the same shapes as these, but they just added corrugation or cork to them. And for those interested and do want a copy of this catalog, I'll send you a catalog copy that actually shows which ones were used for cork grips and which ones were used for corrugated grips. So it won't take too much of your time here, and I hope you continue to enjoy the videos. Take care for now. Bye-bye.